Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. One of Broadway's favorite stars, Robyn Hurder, has stepped into the role of Velma Kelly in the razzle-dazzle musical Chicago, which is Broadway's longest-running American musical. You know Robyn from such shows as A Beautiful Noise, Moulin Rouge, and A Chorus Line, and I caught up with her right before a performance. I'm thrilled to be sitting with you.
I'm thrilled to be sitting with you.
Okay, when I heard you were going into this show of Chicago as Velma Kelly, I was like, I'm going to sit with Robyn, like right away.
I know, you were the first request, and I said, absolutely.
Okay, so first night on stage, like, what do you remember? Velma Kelly.
My heart was pounding. It is the most iconic entrance in Broadway history, I feel.
Yeah.
And I knew that the social team from Chicago was recording it because they wanted the same thing that, you know, the footage of BB rising up, and which I'm so honored. But I just can't believe that was captured and it's there forever now. And you're seeing me the most nervous I've ever been. I'm terrified. I'm terrified. The way and I can hear myself, my voice. I'm like, she's so scared. That's scared baby Robyn. But it's amazing. It's just it's I don't want to say it's so much pressure. Yeah. I just take it so seriously, and I want to honor every single Velma before me. And then you don't want to fall down the stairs. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like it was mostly nerves. That's what I remember.
Because the interesting thing is, I watched that footage. It was electrifying, but Velma opens the show, and, you know, you've heard Cheetah on the recording and seen, you know, her do this iconic version, then, of course, BB and everybody else who followed along that. But you rise up on that elevator thing, and then you start the show.
Yep, I Pippin, and then I just walk down the stairs, and it gets so quiet. Yeah. That's the one thing I do remember is because you just have the vamp, dun, dun, and it's so quiet, and I can hear the squeaks of all the dance shoes because they're all letting me through. It's such an iconic, crazy moment, and I'm so honored. And now I'm starting to have a little bit more fun with it. But jazz is the hardest one for me.
Well, now you own it.
I'm going to eventually, but I'm still, I feel like we're all a work in progress. I'm always working. I'm always trying to find things, always trying to be better, trying to tell the story better, more clearly. And jazz, it's up to you. Yeah. You're the invitation. You're letting the audience in. But not giving it away. Yeah. So it's wonderful. It's fabulous.
No, because Cheetah always said the same thing. Velma was always a process. Every night was different. You learn more things every single night.
Yeah, it's a playground. It's funny because I've now done both roles, which is I just can't believe I'm saying that. But I will say that Velma, it's harder than Roxy physically, but it is a lot more fun for me. Yeah. I feel like it's a playground because you just get to go, it's very Robyn. You just go out on stage and you're like, watch this! And then you just get to play. And it's never gonna be the same every night for me. And that's what I love.
Because you have quite a history with Chicago.
I do.
So who did you start playing first? Give me your history.
So I went into, I think it was just an open call because I didn't have an agent back then, in 2006. And because Mona, the track of Mona was opening up, and it was the cover of Roxy, and I was like, I need to get this role. And I ended up getting the role of Mona and covering Roxy. I was only there for 6 months because then I was going over to do Grease. That was a very good couple of months where I was like, wow, I just got jobs. I was there for 6 months. I did Mona. It was a blast. And it was just a dream come true because when I went in as Mona, that happened to be the time that BB was Roxy. Yeah, it was wild.
What was that like?
It was terrifying because I've probably told you this. I've told the whole world this. Yeah. My first show was Damn Yankees, and I saw BB Newirth, and I just was like, I need to be that. And she clicked it. She locked it in for me at 11 years old, where I was like, this is what I'm going to do when I grow up. Yeah. And then I'm on stage with her, and I was too scared to meet her. But we ended up, talking. We had this, I love this story, I tell it all the time, but we had this kids' night on Broadway, kids' night on Broadway. And BB wanted the cast to mention if they were a kid when they saw their first Broadway show, what was it? And we had 2 nights of it. The first night I couldn't say it. I was so nervous. My heart was pounding. And the second night I was like, Robyn, there are all these kids out here and you have to say it. You have to say it. So I raised my hand and BB goes, Robyn. And I kind of went numb because I was like, oh, she knows my name. And I grabbed the mic and I tell the kids, I say my first show was, Damn Yankees, and BB Newirth came out of the ground and she was Lola, and I was like, oh my God, that's what I want to do with my life. And now I will start crying. And now I'm on stage with her, and that just shows hard work and determination, like your dreams will come true. Yeah. And she gave me a big hug, and it was just one of the greatest days of my life.
Yeah.
And now I'm playing Velma Kelly.
But then you did Roxy too, right?
I did. So that time I did not.
Go on.
That time I did not do. I didn't go on for Roxy because I was only there for such a short amount of time. But when I came back in 2016, it happened to be Mona again, and I was like, great. She was still covering Roxy, so that was and when I went in 2016, Charlotte was, and that was my introduction to finally meet Charlotte D'Amboise. Yeah. And that was a masterclass every single night, and I got to go on a lot, which was super, super fun. And that role is exhausting in a whole other way. She's such an unhinged basket case, with the emotions all over the place, that I was so, after doing that role, I was just so exhausted. This one, I'm physically tired, but it's so fun because you just get to be, like, I think BB said it, like, you just get to be a ham. Yeah. It's like you go out on stage, you're like, hit it, quit it, bye. Yeah. It's great. Okay, I love the look of your Velma. I think it's the first Velma that didn't have black hair or blonde hair in this one. Talk about the color you have. It's like it's like a raspberry red. And it's got these amazing pink highlights in it that they don't look pink from the stage, from the audience, but it's just, I have been blonde in every single Broadway show I've done. And I clearly love being blonde. But I was like, I just want to be icy. I know that if I wear red, my eyes are going to pop. Yeah. And I'm going to look more intimidating. And I want to scare the audience a bit and make them feel like, ooh, yeah, I do. I think she did kill someone, Yeah. And it's a hit. I told the wig designer, Barry Ernst, I said, so Barry, I don't know if Barry Weissler or Walter Bobby is going to go for this, but my dream is that I'm just like Jessica Rabbit just had to put her hair up into a French twist. And he was like, all right, I'll pass it along and see. And they went for it. And I went on stage and everyone was just like, oh my God, your eyes. So I was like, I told you. I knew what I was doing. The first time you saw yourself done up as your Velma, looking in the mirror with makeup and hair and costume, what went through your mind? I was like, wow. I still look at myself before I go out on stage, and I'm still like, is this me? Because I've just never, ever been able to wear a red wig like this. But it's I keep using the word iconic, but I'm just like, I'm in the halter, the sparkle dress, and the black lashes, and the deep, deep red lip, and I'm just like, I've been saying this a lot. I'm like, you did it. Yeah. You did it, Robyn. Like, you knew what you wanted. You knew that you wanted to be one of these women on Broadway, and it's still wild. It's wild to think about. And I'm not taking 1 second of this for granted. Yeah. At all. Chicago is one of my all-time favorite musicals. It's my favorite musical. Yeah. What's it like? I mean, Candor and Ebb, Bob Fosse. I mean, what's it like living in that world? It is my world. I mean, I was introduced to Fosse at the age of 12 at my dance school in Maine. We had this guest teacher come in, and he started doing this movement, and it was the original choreography to Dancing Man. And everyone else in my class was kind of like, what is this? Because it's different, you know? And I became obsessed with it. And so I asked the jazz teacher, I was like, what is this? And he said, Bob Fosse. And I went home to my mom and I was like, what's Bob Fosse? And so we started researching it and I just fell in love. And that's when I, you know, a few years later, when the revival happened, I started becoming obsessed with Chicago and just the fact that I'm still doing it. I've been off and on for 16 years. It never gets old. There is something so sacred and special about this show, different from any other show. And everybody who is a part of the show feels the same way. This is sacred stuff. And it's like to do, I was just telling my husband last night, I said, this book, it's so crazy, and I was getting goosebumps up my leg talking about it. I'm like, he was so ahead of his time. It's timeless. The words that we're saying, it's like my last line of the show. You know, Roxy and I would just like to take the opportunity to thank you for your faith and belief in our innocence. You know, a lot of people have lost faith in America and what America stands for, but we are the living examples to show what a wonderful country this is, and it slams the house down every single night. Because look at what we're in. Yeah. Nothing has changed. The razzle dazzle, the media, the circus. It's just what an honor to be able to say these words. They're just really good words, and it plays itself.
Yeah, singing the iconic songs of John Kander and Fred Ebb.
It's everything. What was so fun, because I'm a nerd when it comes to, I want to know what Rob Bowman says, ink notes. You know, because when you get in a role, you don't even realize that you're not really singing what's written. You're so used to hearing something, and because people have taken little riffs on things. What was so fun is I wanted them to plunk out every single song for me, and I had no idea that like the jazziest little blue notes that I was completely missing, like in jazz. I Know a Girl, that's the hardest song. It's the hardest song for me. The intervals are crazy, and I don't know, I get off on it. I love it so much, and I love practicing it, and you realize how genius they are with the way they write the music and the way the lyrics go with the music. It's just, I keep saying, it's such an honor to be able to sing their music and lyrics. It's just so good.
Yeah, so the opening of the second act was the hardest for you.
Yeah. Da 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 da. It's like I was just singing it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And I'm like, 20 feet up on a ladder on the other side of the stage that I'm like, why does this seem so much higher than Roxy's? And they're like, nope, you guys are at the same level. And it's weird. And I'm hanging around the ladder differently. And I'm wearing long sleeves, but you should see this arm from the ladder. It's so bruised.
Is it wild? You've been in that theater, like you said, for all those years, playing so many different roles, yet you're looking out saying, oh my gosh, I know this view from a stage to the audience of the Ambassador, but now it's all different of where I am.
It's so different.
Because I'm sure you had Roxy still in your muscle memory.
Yes, every now and then I still, like in Hot Honey, I jerk because she goes first on the ba, and I have to stop myself. And also, my own best friend, Roxy, starts it, and Velma is the echo. And last night was my Gremlin show. That's my fourth show, was the Gremlin show. Yeah. And I freaked Ariana out. Yeah. She was like, did I mess up? I was like, nope, it was me. I went to a Roxy land, and it's crazy.
But it's weird because you're living in the moment, but it's a muscle memory from when you hear these chords. Like, I sang This Is Roxy. Yeah. But now I'm Velma.
Yeah, I know. It is wild. And just the perspective, and also backstage traffic, because there's some cast members that are still there, people that I love with my life. And I'm like, hey, I'm looking at you. I never have seen you in this alleyway at this time during the show, whether I was Roxy or Mona. Yeah. So it's so out of body, but it's home. It's so fun. It's just a lot of discovery. That is great. It's keeping it very fresh.
Okay, the choreography is a combination of Anne Reinking and Bob Fosse. Like you said, you fell in love with it really early in that jazz class when you were really, really young. What's it like just doing the Velma track and the Velma choreography.
Well, I had the blessings of working with Gary Christ.
Yeah.
He came in, and he is one of my favorite humans in the world, and his knowledge and all of the stories. That's what I love coming back to the show and working on this new role. The stories that they have, like, this is Annie always wanted this, or Cheetah did this, and that's what, you get the goosebumps on the face, and once again, you're like, this is history. You are a part of it. You're a part of the legacy now.
Yeah.
My biggest note, because I'm like, I want to hit it all the time. It's Gary is like, Robyn, less. And then because I'm like, I just get so scared because I feel like I'm marking and I never mark. And he's like, trust me. He's like, it's the simplest things. Like, I'm like, whew. He's like, it's just like knock your spaghetti strap off. Just all go. And he's like, yes. And that's what Annie, the subtlety, that's what is so wonderful about this choreography, is that there are times where it's not subtle. Like Sister Act and Velma Takes a Stand is not subtle. It's wild, it's a carnival.
Yeah.
But things like jazz, things like Nowadays, it's just even just the eyes looking down and then a tilt. It's just heaven Nowadays.
And it was all thought out.
Yeah.
I mean, every little move, Fosse had a reason for every little, like you said, just brushing off, like a strap.
Yeah, water falling off like the hand, water, soft-boiled eggs,
Because
all those things.
he has names for everything, right? Fosse had names for all these steps, right?
He did, yeah.
So remember Gwen, I had many conversations with Gwen Verdon, who I absolutely, again, adored. And she was like, Fosse always told her there was only like 10 dance steps, but it's what you do with them to create your own vocabulary.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know. And that's what I'm there. And that's what they give me. They give me the vocabulary and then they're like, make it yours. And that's another beautiful thing of just constant discovery with the role, especially in jazz, because it is it's so lethal and sharp and pointed, but so settled and subtle at the same time. So the opportunity for discovery and reminding myself to calm down, and it's just less is more. Like
I said, fourth show.
I know, but I'm like psycho.
Yeah, well,
and I'm like, I want to be perfect now.
No, but it's called brilliance. That's what you do. That's what you deliver. So who is your Roxy right now?
Oh, my Roxy right now is the sweet, brilliant Ariana Maddox. Like she's what a gem. Like what an honor to do this with her.
Yeah.
I've never, done it with a celebrity, and she's such a hard worker. She's so consistent, and she's alive. She's electric. She makes eye contact with you, and she's listening, and it's really fun. Like she's playing with me. Like it's different every single night, and I'm so happy that I have someone new that's just like using her celebrity, using her personality perfectly in the role of Roxy. And I don't know, we have a really good back and forth, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun to work with her.
And then you have a new Roxy coming in.
And then I have my old pal Bianca coming in, which I'm that is going to be trippy for me, because she was my Roxy for most of the time when I was there. It was like basically her and Charlotte. And I wonder, because I'm so used to hearing her voice saying those lines, and I wonder what that's going to do to me. Doing these scenes opposite her. It's like going home. It's going to be so much fun to sing and dance with her, because we all know she's absurdly talented. So
I just love that Chicago is still one of the hottest tickets in town.
It's sold out.
Yeah.
It's giving standing room. Yeah. I'm just so proud. It's amazing. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy for Annie and for Cheetah and Gwen and Bob that, like, look, it's still standing and it's not going anywhere. Like, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
They love it. And the thing is, the audience, there might be a celebrity in, but the cast was telling me, they're like, they're listening. They're not they're here, yes, maybe to see Ariana or Jinx, which they're coming back, and I cannot wait.
Get ready for that.
I know. They're like, it was unlike anything we've ever experienced. But it was like after every monologue and cell block, the audience was on their feet screaming. So they're listening. They're appreciating the entire show. I mean, leaving the stage door every night, people are like, I love it. There's so many people. They're like, this is my first Broadway show. And I'm like, this is a good choice. But they're like, we loved it. They absolutely love it. So it's this little show that could at Encores. Here it is.
See, I just love that every time I go back, there are people who don't speak English and have the time of their life watching this show. Because you know the songs, it's visually stunning to watch, you can follow the whole story, but everybody loves this show.
Yeah, it's just good all around.
Yeah.
Great choreography, great book, great music.
Okay, I want to look back on some of the shows you've done. Just tell me a fun story or a great memory.
Okay.
Let's Broadway debut.
Oh, my Broadway debut was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Wait, next year will be 20 years. 20 years I've been on Broadway. That was, talk about what a way to make your debut with Raul Esparza, Aaron Dilley, Mark Kudish, and Jan Maxwell. I was like, wow, I'm blessed. Like, master classes. I learned so much from every single one of those performers. They're just, like Mark Kudish and Jan Maxwell in that show. We would just be on stage laughing because Mark would just be breaking and laughing. It was
And she just followed along.
Oh, she was brilliant.
And then there was the car.
And then there was a car that broke a lot.
Totally.
And it always broke in the first act. And if you have to stop in the first act, they're gonna hold you, because if you cancel it, everyone's got to get their money back. So instead of being released early, we had to always stay an hour later because they would just hold the show. And then oh my God, then people would come out in front of the curtain while they're fixing the car and do like a variety act. They would make people sing and like, row, row, row your boat. It was hilarious. It was like 6 or 7 times it broke. But when it did work, it was pretty magical.
I love it. The Chitty Chitty Bang Bang variety act.
It was hilarious. People told jokes. People came out with a guitar, sang songs. Like it was a whole other show.
I love it.
Yeah.
Grease.
Well, played Marty.
Yep.
There are so many stories.
Yep.
That was a crazy show with we had like 16 debuts.
Yeah.
We were all children. That's where I befriended my best, Lindsay Mendez, who is just, superstar, amazing. It was great. I'm trying to think. I mean, my first memory is that it was the reality show, and we all talk about I'm in Chicago. This was the first time I asked for some personal days off to go fly to LA to do the last episode of Grease. You're the one that I want, and it was wild. And you're just meeting everybody. You're like, hey, we're gonna do this Broadway show next year. Cool. It was crazy.
Love it.
I know.
Okay, your show-stopping role of Nini in Moulin Rouge, Tony Award nominee.
I still laugh. I still can't believe it.
We don't. No, but we told you early on. I think I told you at Boston, right? I think I told you in that green room at the Colonial. I said, watch out.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just a very, very, very special, intense, stressful, physically stressful show. But my God, I wanted that role when I was 19, when I saw it in the movie theater opening weekend, and I saw Roxanne, and I was like, this needs to be a Broadway show, and I need to be her. And it took, however many years, how many years? 19 years. And just the fact that I got to reinvent it, and I got to work with Sonia Taya, which was, I was such a massive fan of hers for years leading up because of So You Think You Can Dance. I just loved her choreography so much, but I was the one that was like, I could never do that. Never do that kind of choreography. And then here I am, my final callback, alone in a room with her, doing this tango, partnering, backbending, all this stuff, and it was one of the best days of my life. And just working with her and Ricky Rojas, who's back in the show right now, what an amazing collaborative, passionate moment, but it was also very, very stressful, just like doing a reading, doing the 6-week lab, doing Boston. It's constantly changing and evolving. And, Nene doesn't have a whole lot on the page. She doesn't have a whole lot of lines. And I am determined to always, if there's not a whole lot, I have to make something out of it. I'm going to put everything I can in to make this girl special. And it worked really hard. And I have a whole basket of injuries that are, they're healed now, but they come out every now and then. But I'm very proud of the work I did and the work that Ricky and I did to make this tiny little bee storyline such a favorite.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, but we talked before. All the great dancers on Broadway I've spoken to have all said, my knee went out in this show, or I had my hip done from this show, or my foot went out in that show.
Yeah.
You all where your battle scars are from.
Oh yeah, like my shoulder blade and my L5S1 is out. It's just destroyed from Moulin Rouge. But like my hip flexor is Cassie from the pirouettes. Da-da, bringing the leg up, shooting it back. That will come out all the time, and it's a nasty one. It's crazy.
Oh, but let's talk about a chorus line, because you did that numerous times, but you did that incredible production at City Center.
That was another gift.
And I mean, talk about a gift, but talk about stopping the show too, and just like, you go somewhere else. I mean, you and I talked about this before. I don't know where you put yourself, and I've said this to Cheetah and all the great stars. You just don't you go beyond.
Yeah.
And you create something magical. That role and doing Music in the Mirror, what was that like?
I'll probably start crying. I do not take it for granted.
Yeah.
When there's something this iconic, the way, I kept thinking about Donna and Michael, and they choreographed it to drums. That was what it was. And then you have these gorgeous orchestrations, and I just, you think about the song, Music and the Mirror, and you need to release and let yourself get lost in the world. You have the whole thing on stage is 12 minutes. But once, you're staring into black for all this scene work, and then you turn around and you see the mirror and you see the lights, but you still see black. It's like, it's almost, you have to put yourself into a meditative state and just listen to the music and not think about it. Björk said something to me. She goes, Robyn, you have the technique, rely on it. Don't think about it. Don't think about doing the steps. You have the technique. You have the power. Just dance it, And especially the final night of Encores, I was like, this is, probably the last time I'm going to do this. And it's so special. And I've been on such a journey with the role. When I got it, when I was 27 years old, and I felt like, I'm very honest, I felt like a fraud. I did it on the road for a year, and I loved it because I was with my husband Clyde. We got married on that tour, and but I didn't like saying her words because I didn't go through it. I was like, I have jumped from job to job. I've never been unemployed so far in my career. And funny, after the tour, I didn't work for 3 years. And Björk said, there's a curse, the Cassie curse. Did you know that? And I was like, what? She goes, yeah, after you do the role, you kind of just live it.
Yeah.
You live her. And I was like, I did. I really went through a hard time after the tour stopped for me. And I got confused about who I was and all that stuff. Anyway, years go by, nice work happened. And the fact that I just got a call. They're like, they want you to do Cassie at City Center. It's the 75th anniversary gala. And I was like, and I dropped to my knees and I started bawling. And they had the most stellar cast. Yeah. Like it was, and we still talk about it, how special that moment was. And especially the last show, like I was saying, I could get on tangents, but like I was saying, I was like, let it go, Robyn. Just fly. And I did. And I remember, you go dun 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 dun, and in training, in Cassie Camp training, what Bayard does is she goes 16, 15, 4, and she counts down, and you have to hold it for 16 counts. No matter what, any time there was rehearsal, there's a countdown, and you have to hold it for 16 counts. And she goes, because you're gonna have to train yourself to hold it, because you cannot get out of the pose until you'll hear the peak of the applause, and the minute it starts to die down, then you can release it. Ooh. And that last night, it didn't stop for like 30 seconds, and I didn't realize it, but people had stood up. And it's just the proudest moment in my career. More so, dare I say, more so than just getting nominated for a Tony. Yeah. It's like the fact that I did that, and I wanted to honor every Cassie, legendary, iconic Cassie before me, and to have that final moment, because I'm not doing it again. I mean, never say never, but.
Well, we were there that night,
yeah.
That final performance. And like you said, because you can hear it, you can't see it because you're in that pose.
Can't see it.
And like you said, they didn't stop.
Yeah.
You know, just want a beautiful noise.
Yep, I keep saying gifts and blessed. Yeah. That really just kind of fell into my lap, the audition. I looked at it, I was like, oh man, it's going to Boston. And I'm from Maine, and I love Boston. Boston is a very special place. The Emerson Colonial Theater is a very, very special place to me. And I was like, okay, I think this is the right move, because it's my moment to finally prove to people that I'm more than a dancer.
Yeah.
And I love to dance. Dance will always be my first love, and it will always be a part of my career. I know it will be, but I consider myself an actress. Like everything that anytime I'm dancing, it's coming from an actor's perspective. Yeah. I'm not doing steps. I'm trying to tell a story. And when I ended up getting that role and getting to work with Will Swenson, who's such a dream, it's just so easy, and it was so comfortable. And I got to sing You Don't Bring Me Flowers and, Forever in Blue Jeans, which happens to be my favorite Neil Diamond song before I got the show. I'm so grateful to Michael Mayer, and of course Sonny Palladino, our music director, and Neil Diamond and Bob Gaudio, that they let me have the opportunity to show that I can kind of be a leading lady too. Yep. I can sing, and I can act. I can say words. I can, be someone else that's not necessarily a dancer. So I think that really helped. I'm very grateful for it, because it let me break out of that dancer box. Because boy, when you're a dancer, you are boxed in.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. It's like, and you have to have the strength and the determination to say no to certain things and really fight for what you really want in your career. So I honestly don't think that if it wasn't for Beautiful Noise, I don't know if I would have been considered for Smash. I don't know if I'd be considered for Velma. I truly believe that. People look at you differently.
Well, Smash, I was honored to be there. And like I said, that was one of those, if someone said to you, what was one of the top 10 things you've done in your career, and I've seen everybody perform, was watching you play Ivy in that developmental workshop lab of Smash.
That was, talk about it. I've been very lucky.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Again, the hardest work I have ever done in my life. You have Susan Stroman directing. You're singing the music and lyrics of Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman. You've got Josh Bergass's choreography, and that boy loves a partnering moment. So I'm being thrown around, screaming E's, D's and E's. Heart rate is at like 140. And I'm playing one of my biggest inspirations ever, Marilyn Monroe. But also, I can't believe I was doing the choreography that I watched Let's Be Bad and Cut Print, Moving On, public relations. I watched these numbers over and over and over again 12, 13 years ago. And I kept saying to Josh in rehearsal, I was like, I can't believe I'm doing it. Like I just can't. I'm like, talk about manifestation. I'm like, I would watch Megan, who is so brilliant. I'd be like, I need to do this. It's amazing how it takes a little bit of time, but I got it.
Well, you're brilliant. Finally, family's the most important thing to you, isn't it?
Hands down, yeah. It has to be, anything I do has to be truly, truly worth it. I've turned down a lot of things just because I'm like, nope. I need this time with my son. I need this time to go away with my family. This business is ruthless. It's so hard, and because I've chosen my beautiful life up in the country, an hour north of the city, I have to allow 2 hours of commuting, and then so I'm traveling so much that I calculated it one time. I'm like, I see my son in the school year, like I see him 15 hours a week. So I know now, I know when I need my breaks, and I know when it's worth it to work. And it's all for him. It's all for my family. It's not just for me. I'm so blessed that this is my passion, and I get to do it for a living. Yeah. But all of this is I'm so blessed to be able to make a living and give that to my family, and give us the life that we want to live. And it's great. It's really, really great. I'm very blessed.
It has been great to watch your career go from your Broadway debut in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang to playing Velma Kelly.
I still can't believe I'm Velma Kelly.
Welcome home, my love. I adore you.
Thank you so much.